Good afternoon, Rolando Balli from Ozadi Stonecraft here, and we're on a job site of a paver driveway. And this paver driveway happens to be about 6,500 square feet, pretty big. And I just kind of wanted to show you what goes on to doing pavers. In this particular case, I'll have the camera zoom down to, there is a concrete base underneath. Most times we just use a road base to get that level, and then we build a border. In this particular case, we're using concrete base because of the owner's request to have a more firm base. So in either case, anytime we do pavers, we have to build a retainer wall. And can you zoom in on those retainer walls? So you see how that we do, it's like building a puzzle. This is the way you build the edges first, and if you can see all the way around this area, you see how we built all the edges now first, that's cemented in. And then what we do is we put at minimum inch of concrete sand that we're doing, and you're seeing here how we get the right levels. We use strings to make sure we have the levels that are guiding us to do the angles so the water can go in the middle and out in this particular case. We always have to have a slope so the water can get out, but you can see how we are having a base of concrete sand and how we keep it all level, and how we use strings, how we use the sand, how we use posts to make sure that we're getting an even flow of the concrete sand. So when we set the pavers, they're set in a stable and compacted environment. And then we get the pattern, so you can see how we're doing the patterns over here with using 3 different colors. This was at the client's request. We can do them in multiple colors, one color. This is all optional how you want the colors to be. But then we're setting in these based on the slope. We're starting to set in the concrete pavers. And when they set in the concrete pavers, you can also see how they start to tamp them down a little bit, because you want the sand to come into the bottom of the joints. And what makes an interlocking paver interlock is actually the sand. So the sand from the bottom comes up in between the joints, and then we fill it with a concrete we fill it with a polymeric sand in between the joints. And a polymeric sand is basically a sand with polymers that as soon as you put water on it, it activates the sand. So and it makes it hard, so it makes it even less possible for movement within all the pavers. So that's how we get interlocked pavers. So in this case, this is where we're at. This is one of the early stages of what we're doing. It took us 2 days to put in this concrete border around the edge. And then now we are putting in these patterns. It looks like it's a random pattern, but it's not random. We're just making it look random on these patterns that we put it on along here as we set the pavers. So this is an example of how we at Ozadi Stonecraft start to do our paver installs and driveway paver installs. And when you can see over here, even though we're not finished, we haven't inserted the polymeric sand yet. This is just such a beautiful look. It's flexible for driveways. If they're all concrete cracks, but these pavers, because they are made especially for driveways and pathways, if one cracks, you pick it up, you put in another one. That's why I love pavers over just a regular concrete driveway.